Welcome to the Healthy Christian Leader. I'm Dwight Habermel. Come join me in the living room for some honest conversations. I'll be talking to guests about their journey with Christ through the joys, the challenges, and the messiness of leadership. There's always something to learn from someone's story, so let's get started. Well, friends, welcome to the Healthy Christian Leader. I'm Dwight Habermel, and I have our guest today, Jay Guptill. Jay, it's great to have you here. You have been a pastor for how many years?
Well, I've punched into 40 years now in pastoral ministry.
That's amazing.
It's wonderful. It's been a great journey.
That's incredible. Yeah. If we had one of those sound boxes, you could push it. We'd have crowd applauding.
Yeah.
But that's an amazing accomplishment. And now you are involved in ministry of the encouragement of leaders.
Right.
And I so resonate with that calling. And it's made for more ministries.
Correct.
And folks, as we go through this podcast, can find it actually on madeformoreministries.com.
.ca.
Oh, right. You want to be Canadian for
That's
sure.
That's it, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Jay, the topic that we're going to be looking at today is preventative care as a leader.
Right.
In the whole idea of building habits that help leaders flourish. Habits are really important, aren't they?
They really are. They take intention. You have to choose to do them because they're not going to happen on their own. So I think it's very important that we have that attitude. If we're going to flourish, if we're going to go forward, we are going to have to create some good habits and practices, but it's not going to happen without us deciding to do it.
So it's almost like a maintenance schedule. Like we would have on our car, taking it in every 7,000 or 8,000 kilometers.
Yeah. Well, and I think it can be maintenance and then flourishing. Maintenance is kind of like I'm just keeping the status quo. I'm in that moderate zone. But is there a way in which we can do things, create behaviors and attitudes that will take us into a much healthier place than just kind of getting by? So I think that's very important to remember.
No, that's very good. You've talked about the importance of a preventative approach to well-being. What does that look like in the life of a healthy leader?
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is understanding, as I said, we have a decision about our well-being. It's not like we're left to fate or that it's going to be imposed upon us. We actually have the ability to flourish as a person. And that will many times, again, come back to this word, be intentional. So how am I wanting to stay on top of things, to do well, to experience life to the full? And in many aspects, that is based on, again, our decision to do that. I think a foundation for that is what is our identity in Christ? Not how are we seeing ourselves, how are other people seeing us? Those are very important processes and we have to go there. But there is definitely a foundation of what's my identity in Christ? Am I a dearly loved child of God?
Yeah, that's so important.
Can I answer that question with a profound confidence that is like, no matter what people say, no matter what performance reviews, no matter what the opinion of people, am I a dearly loved child of God? And I think that's a really great place to start when it comes to the foundation upon which we want to move forward.
Yeah, no, I so agree. And the amazing thing is the enemy is the accuser of the brethren.
Absolutely.
So if you don't have that anchored in your heart and your mind, you don't have a lot to fight with.
That's right.
It's quite an incredible thing. Why do you think so many leaders wait until things are falling apart before seeking help or support?
Yeah, I'd like to say there's a silver bullet answer to that, which I suppose at the deepest level, pride probably is at the foundation of that. But what does pride look like in a person who is like, I'm not asking for help? Some of that can be based on maybe our background and what our beliefs are. So for example, am I okay to say that I'm not okay? There are some pastors that I've talked to that have said things like, you know what, like, I'm the one who's supposed to be helping other people.
Right.
It's
I think that is a major area.
I'm not free to work on myself because I'm too much having to help others.
I have to have the answers.
I have to have the answer.
Yeah.
What does that actually say at a deeper level? That says, I'm above getting help. I'm above needing the support of others. So that definitely comes into play, I think, for a number of pastors and leaders. I think another practical thing that really becomes a matter of choice, but it does come into play, and that is finances. There are times when there are not the resources available to an individual or to a local church to help with, the care and the coaching and the way of helping people. Now, sometimes when it comes to finances, we will do what we feel we need to do. So we'll find it if we really need it. But sometimes finances can become a reason why some people don't ask for help and don't feel like they can ask for help. So that comes into play as well. I think sometimes pastors just have a hard time admitting that, if I speak about this, what's that going to say about my job?
Right.
Could this come back to bite me? Right. I've opened up before, and then somebody has used that, and I feel a little jaded, so I keep a little guard up.
Right.
I don't really want to reveal things. That's why I think it's really important to find somebody that's safe, that's confidential, that's anonymous, that you can talk to. You can talk about anything, and it stays there in that conversation. And yet, too many times, I think there are pastors that are waiting too long, which is obviously like any other medical or mental health thing. If you wait too long to address it,
the
all of a sudden now
grows.
it's turned into something way more than what it could have been
Right.
if you touched it earlier.
And you and I are very similar in age. And
young.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And but the generation that we came from,
right,
was very much about the presentation and the stiff upper lip,
right,
and don't let them see you sweat.
Yeah,
and
suck it up, princess.
Suck it up. Yeah, that's right.
That's right,
Buttercup, and that whole concept. And yet, during our lifetimes, key leaders in the Christian community have stepped up and said, no, we must have self-care. And I think even in the culture today, there's a far greater acknowledgement of the need for self-care. And so there's a freedom and a liberty.
Right.
But those messages, those narratives of buck up run in a lot of our hearts.
It does, yeah. I often will ask this of people, pastors especially, do you feel like you can give yourself permission?
Oh, that's a great
to
way
get
of
help.
processing.
Sometimes it's like, I don't feel like I can do that. And I think that's worth exploring. Okay, why not? But maybe just the way of thinking that, can I give myself permission to not be okay, to ask for help? I think that can be a starting point to why I'm not getting the help.
Yeah. Now, you talked about finances as being a barrier, and truly it is. Like, it can be expensive for some therapists or some coaches if there isn't a support budget and you're taking it out of a wage that we're receiving.
Yeah.
If the support isn't there, and we just can't squeak those extra dollars out for the coaching and mentoring,
right?
What other options are there?
Yeah, well, there are typically people who are willing to spend time with others. Sometimes they have to be found, but probably all of us have somebody in our life that we respect, that we look to for guidance or for even from that distance, right? They're teaching us from a distance. We may not have the depth of relationship with them. But I think most ministry leaders who get it, meaning they have walked the road of ministry, have had some ups and downs. If anybody asks for, hey, can I ask you a few questions? Can we do a coffee together? Would you be willing to either mentor or coach me on some things? I think there's a lot of people out there who are more than willing to be available for somebody else. So it may not require a paid professional or going to a retreat that costs a lot of money. It may just simply be, who are the people in my life that I can already tap to, or they're low-hanging fruit, so to speak, that I can go after. I think that can be an easy starting point for sure.
How do you get over that emotional barrier of just saying, hey, if I were to expose all the crap that goes on in my mind,
sure,
I would really be exposed.
Yeah.
How does a leader who's feeling that, if I was really honest, I don't know whether it would be safe.
Right.
What are the steps a leader who processes that should take in terms of finding an individual, a friend, or a professional that can help?
Yeah. Well, I think that part of that, like when you think of confidentiality and safety, that's partly why a counselor or a therapist or somebody in a profession that has an ethical code and a standard of practice that says this is absolutely essential to who I am and why I exist as a therapist or help. So there is that part.
So there's a covenant that's basically signed in that context.
Yeah, it's a consent.
Confidentially.
That's right. It's a consent. Like that's where, with a counselor or a therapist, it's like there's that agreement, that understanding, that consent of what the relationship is going to be like. And I think that's huge. Now, if you're not going to a therapist or a counselor, you're going to another person. There's obviously the awareness of, is this person trustworthy?
Right.
Do I believe that they will keep this? Do I know that they're a talker? If they're a talker about other people and other situations, I'm not going to them. Why would I do that? But if I feel this person is trustworthy, they're someone that I can talk to freely, then we will probably, enter into that in stages. We might start off light instead of just dumping the whole truck, right? But then as we feel more trust building, then we can kind of get more and more open. So I think from an emotional standpoint, of course, emotional is, am I willing to be vulnerable?
Right.
Vulnerability takes risk. Part of risk is telling my story, sharing my information. But I need to know the other person is going to be trustworthy with that, as I like to call that sacred information, because it is very personal, and it's something that I need to know that person is going to be trustworthy.
Yeah, that's so good. What are some daily and weekly habits, getting back on track with this theme of habits that build and restore health? What are some daily or weekly habits that help pastors stay emotionally, spiritually, and relationally strong?
Yeah, I think there's a number of things that can be a part of that answer. I think each individual is going to have to look at what is most important for this season or this part of my life. One group of habits are things that I would say are spiritual because God has blessed us with this, but we may not see them as spiritual. So for example, how are we taking care of our body? Am I exercising? Am I eating well? Am I doing my best to sleep well? I mean, those three areas seem so elementary, but they are so absolutely foundational to flourishing. If I'm not exercising, if I'm not getting blood flow, if I'm not, doing the things that help me, I mean, taking a simple walk. The number of times I've talked to people who are like struggling a bit, and I say, how are you doing exercising? For example, are you walking? No, I know I need to, but I'm not doing it. Well, what if you just started with a walk around the block one day, and the next day make it 2 blocks, and before long you'll be up to 1 kilometer and more. And like a simple walk is just like it clears the head. It gets you outside. It gets the blood flowing. It changes perspective. It's a very simple process, but done. I love the statement, small things done over and over again result in big outcomes.
Well, it's interesting because cortisol within the body is the stress hormone.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've processed for myself
Yeah.
because what I've learned is I go for a walk in the mornings and I walk for half an hour.
Yeah.
And it's obviously in our neighborhood and so on. But if I miss that, my stress levels during the day are actually notably higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, the other thing is, as a person with ADHD, I've got a bit of that attention deficit. It's actually managed very well
Yeah.
with that 30-minute walk.
Yeah.
The day, in terms of the capacity to stay very focused and clear,
Yeah.
is so much better after going for that 30-minute walk. So I guess my point is it provides exercise, gets the blood flow going. One other little small item is I have a back injury, but so I have to be careful what I do. But it actually, even that 30-minute walk impacts my mobility and inflammation with arthritis.
Yep.
So you get all of these micro impacts that you don't even see from the health benefit of fitness.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Yeah. Another habit, slowing down from a busy, hurried life. So, for example, can I sit for 2 minutes in silence, pondering the love of God, thanking Him for who He is? And you go, oh, I could do that. And yet, to take 2 minutes and then maybe extend it to 4 and get it up to 10 minutes, could a person actually slow down their rhythms and their heart rate and their everything to just take time to sit in the presence of the Lord? That can be challenging, but the impact of it is powerful.
So you're talking about meditating, really, on the Word.
Yeah, but you can meditate, but you can also then just receive, right?
Right.
Where it's like, God, I just want to reflect on your love for me, and I just want to sit in your presence. And I'm not going to talk. I'm not going to think about other things. I'm not going to just empty my mind, but I'm going to have an opportunity to slow the pace right now. And that can feel so overwhelming for people because silence and not talking and not hearing things can be really intimidating. But that's another practice. And there's so many others, I think, that we need to think about when it comes to basic habits and rhythms. I mean, there's so much out there when it relates to spiritual practices. You can find that in so many different places, but oftentimes we don't contemplate those. We don't have that contemplative side of life because life is just go. So what can I do for God versus how can I be with God, right? That's a classic kind of contrast that comes up so often in ministry lives, doing versus being with God. So I think whatever habits I can develop that help me to be with God are going to be really important.
Yeah, it's interesting. You almost need to withdraw and ask, what motivates me? The doing, the being challenge, because I do see that in a lot of leaders' lives, including my own, is you can so easily lean on the doing side, the doing track of life, and neglect the being.
Yeah, my wife and I have gone through kind of a curriculum program called Run Hard, Rest Well. And I think that's a great way to think of that contrast. We are going to give our best. We are going to serve the Lord with everything that He's given us. It's not about slacking off from, being an effective worker for the kingdom.
Yeah.
But we also can't neglect resting well.
Yeah.
And so how do we keep both of those, operating in a good way in our lives? I think way too many times we run really hard and we don't rest well. So I think that's a great balance.
There was a leader that I met as a young man that came during the summer season to the church that I grew up in, and his name was Tom McCormick, and he was the president of Dominion Stores of Canada, which was, if you remember that grocery store chain, back when we were kids, it was, the superstore didn't exist, and Dominion Stores was the superstore of the day. And so I asked him what was important in life at that time, and I might have been 15 or 16, in terms of, succeeding in the things you're called to. And he said, when you work hard. And he said, when you play hard.
Yeah.
But when you rest well.
Yeah.
And he said, never mix them up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, for sure.
How can coaching play a preventative role helping leaders stay on track before burnout begins?
Yeah. Part of the way coaching is described is what am I currently facing and what do I want to go after in the future? Counseling oftentimes is about what's in the past, what's holding me back. Is there something that has happened that is blocking my current life? Coaching is much more of the, where am I at now? What do I need to understand and what it's going to take to go forward? So I think, again, it comes back to that intentionality, is saying, hey, if I want to improve, if I want to increase, if I want to see more in my life, coaching is a great way to do that. Part of coaching is really good questions. Really good questions that help a person draw out of them what the Lord wants to do or how things might want to be changed going forward. So it's not about coming up with all these wonderful principles or practices that are superimposed onto an individual. It's about the individual discovering within themselves, through good questions being asked, this is what's important. This is what I want to go after. This is what I see as a significant thing. So somebody just recently said, all the cool kids have coaches. Well, whether that's true or not, I think there's a part where it's like, you know what, if we're wanting to move forward, we need to invite others to help us to get there. And a coach is a very helpful way to be able to say, what is it that's most important? What do you value? How do you want to get there? And I can be a coach to help you get there by asking you good questions to draw that out of you. So that's why I think it's really important for coaching.
Yeah, no, that's very, very good. It's almost like getting a power booster on the planning and strategic thinking.
Yes, that's right.
And so that you're thoroughly thinking through
that's right.
the future.
Yeah,
no,
really
that's good.
Yeah.
What are a few early warning signs that a pastor might be drifting towards burnout or discouragement?
Yeah, I think, again, it's going to be based on the individual. Part of that could be, have I kind of lost interest? Have I lost focus or clarity on my life, my marriage, my ministry? Am I finding myself being more distracted for longer periods of time? Some of that could be, am I on my phone for extended periods of time, just kind of in a spiral and a funnel of, I don't even know how long I've been spending on here, right? So there can be that disinterested, distracted.
Which does not promote health.
Doesn't promote health at all, right? Sometimes it's, what are people saying to us? So, for example, if we're married, is our spouse going, you don't seem yourself. Something seems off. Maybe we hear our kids going, what's going on? Why are you so mean? Why are you so grumpy? Right? I think there are good indicators for us to be able to say, okay, if this is happening to me, what do I need to pay attention to? So a personal example, probably 10 years ago, when we were doing a sermon series on mental health in the church. On the Sunday that we were going to talk about the area of depression and what does that imply in our lives. I was preparing for that message. And I went to, kind of the list of what are the symptoms to indicate you're depressed. And as I went down through the list, I was going, oh my goodness.
Check, 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 check.
There's way more here than what I really thought, to the point that it was quite humbling. And I was going, I'm in a depressive mood. I didn't feel like I had clinical depression, but I definitely gotten to a point where I was burning down and I was low and I was in that depressive mood, and it was a wake-up call. So I needed to put some things in place to address that. So I think there can be times where we just have to be real. Maybe we do an assessment. Maybe we do something that gives us an indicator. There's a free assessment that anybody can do online called Flourishing in Ministry. And there's a free assessment that can be done. And it can give kind of an overview of what and how I'm doing in 4 key quadrants of my life and how it relates to ministry. There are other free assessments that they may not be the be-all, end-all, but they might just kind of raise it to the surface. Something's not right, and I just need some outside word or kind of a voice to say, yeah, you're not doing so well. Now it's time for you to start working on that, right? So I think there's ways to note. Probably again, every person is different. Am I more grumpy? Am I more irritable? Am I more distant? Have I kind of lost my passion, my zeal? Am I going through the motions? I think all of us will get to those points where we go, yeah, okay, yeah, that's going on. And that's the time to really start to note, okay, something needs to change.
Jay Guptill, Made for More Ministries. Jay, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an excellent talk, and I'm looking forward to our next conversation because we're going to have another one.
That's great.
And folks will be able to listen to it in about a week's time. So anyway, we'll see you next time, friends, on The Healthy Christian Leader. Well, today's conversation was fantastic, but we're not finished yet. We'll be back in the next video with the same guest with more discussion about leader health. You know the drill. Subscribe and hit that bell. Would you join us for the next episode? You can find new episodes every week in video form on the Aaron Ministry YouTube page and in audio form as the Healthy Christian Leader Show wherever you get your podcasts. Aaron Ministries is an interdenominational network of friends in ministry with a mission to foster healthy Christian leaders. Check out our website, aaronministries.com, for more resources and information on how to donate or to start a healthy Christian leader gathering in your area. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.